explore with this very distinguished panel is how they take their experience of taking an idea and turning it into something which can reap millions. So you go from the brainwave to the billions, as it were.
I would say that the first thing is, I think the panel is titled the Eureka moment.
Yes.
So there really is no Eureka moment. Right? It's a lot of hard work, and oftentimes you don't even know it happened when it happened, right? It's just through the process of having that idea. But the one thing I would think is most important is, I say this differently. I always coached a lot of soccer, and I would always tell, it was girls, and I always tell them, if you never take a shot, you'll never score a goal. So I think the first critical element is having an idea and then actually putting it to work.
But I think, I'm glad you mentioned that about this Eureka moment. I have over 40 patents, or probably.
You have 40 patents?
And
hey, what are they in?
Mostly in the area of medical products.
And has some of them not been translated into a product?
Some of them have not.
Could we have those as a gift to the Edison Foundation? Edison had the record number of patents, as you know. So.
But unfortunately, because of where I work, they're actually owned by somebody else, MIT.
Of course. Yeah. So give us an idea of a patent, an idea which turned in, you managed to specify into a patent, you got it accepted. And give me one idea of a success that went from that and how it happened.
Most of the time it happens because I continued to work on it. I've started 5 companies, and it was all because I believe, now I've certainly licensed patents and companies have used it that way, but I think the biggest successes have been because I've continued to work on developing these ideas, because the first image of what the invention is gets transformed when you get tested in front of a customer.
Give me a specific example. What kind of idea and patent was it?
Well, the first patent I received concerned a process called 3D printing. This was 25 years ago, and almost 25 years ago. And it was one of the 3 now rapid prototyping technologies that are used throughout the world.
Well, I'll come back to that. This is so interesting. I want to go to my General Electric friend, Dr. Nadeem. You are doing continual research on different parts of imaging. And
correct.
So just give us an idea. I mean, are you sitting there waiting for something to flash across your mind, or are you getting feeds from different people in General Electric? What happens?
Yeah, we do. As a matter of fact, we look on the outside quite a bit. So if you look at the medical industry right now, you would see more and more hardware. It was invented 30, 40 years ago. And now the capability of that hardware is coming to a saturation. So more about understanding of biology and chemistry is where this industry is headed. So we've had to transform our entire R&D to kind of comply with that, to make sure that we have people who are working in disciplines that are today relevant to medicine.
Yeah, most of my career has been within consumer packaged goods, so I think it's very different from the other members here, because there's very little invention, I would say, in that area. And branding is often, or innovation is often about branding. Okay,
let me stop you there. What kind of things have you been branding or been associated with in branding?
We've tested, our firm has tested, hundreds of thousands of new product launches throughout the world. So I'm not allowed to name the names, but if you can think of a new product, a major new product in the CPG industry,
CPG meaning?
Consumer packaged goods.
Okay.
So
what about Procter & Gamble's Pantene?
A shampoo, a cookie, breakfast cereals, these sorts of things. And so the issue there tends to be in some of these markets where it isn't so much about invention, but there's still innovation. And so to be an innovator and maintain your edge, you have to differentiate on many things. It's not just, say, the patent or the product quality. You might try to own a distribution channel. You might try to have a very innovative type of advertising. Your packaging might need to be very unusual and unique, but you need to own something and stand out. So that I'd say the game of innovation within, for these consumer packaged goods companies like your Unilevers, like your Procters, Kraft, and Nestle, it's a very different game than the world of patents and inventions and things like that.
You have engaged in a lot of research. Now, can you take me through just I'll just think of one that we can follow the sequences. Here you are, you're sitting at your breakfast table, you get an idea, it's not like that, you tell me, but tell me what it is like. Or you go into the office, or you go into the surgery, and somebody says, you know, this is a very interesting, whatever. How does it happen? How does it work?
So I'll use an example I think is getting an award here today, which is the harmonic scalpel. And I developed that technology with Tom Davison many years ago. So I'll tell you the quick story. The
Yeah,
quick
please.
story is, and it'll draw on lots of features of ideas, patents, and innovation. The original patents and idea was for cutting sailcloth. It's a
Cutting sailcloth.
sailcloth, and very difficult materials to cut because it had a very low heat profile. Tom Davison was PhD, and his thought was, well, we're doing Mohs surgery, this dermatologic surgery where you take small sections, and if you didn't have heat, you wouldn't. If you had a small amount of heat, you could stop bleeding, and you'd get a good effect. Well, I happened to be at the same time pioneering some work in minimally invasive surgeries. This is just the turn of laparoscopic surgery. And in that era, the problem was everybody wanted to use lasers, which I'm not sure any human being can use effectively without some sort of automation. And the opposite was electrosurgery, which is the most commonly used thing in surgery, but has inherent dangers, and those dangers are magnified when you're in a warm, moist environment that's closed. Okay. So we meet and we're talking, and he shows me the box, and I cut an orange with it, and I thought, this is pretty cool for minimally invasive surgery.
And you're using a laser on what?
I was using electrosurgery at the time.
Electrosurgery, okay.
So, but I would use this in laparoscopy. I had a lab, I was doing research, so and he was going to the Wellman labs at MIT. I'm sorry, I stole him. So I brokered a deal. The deal was, you come down, I'll help you develop this for free, and I'll give you the animals that I use when I'm done with them. And in the meantime, you make this thing for
You said this
work.
to MIT, did you, or to who?
They were using the research labs.
We're gonna join you two up in a minute.
And
yeah,
I was
okay.
at Brown. So to make a really long story short, the company was venture funded with the target being plastic surgery. It failed in plastic surgery, and it worked in...
Why did it fail in
invasive
plastic surgery?
Because it produced too much thermal damage.
Oh.
turned
Was it
out that-
experimenting on real people?
It turned out that the way it works is through the collagen, and there's a lot of collagen in the skin, so you got a really big heat profile. But when you used it in minimally invasive surgery, there was almost no thermal damage, and it reduced adhesions and really facilitated surgery. So, I mean, that's an example, and I think the take-home message for that is there are multiple in that. First, like you said, many ideas come from other industries and are translated to create innovation, which is the acceptance by people of that idea. The second is that we all set off with our mindset on what it's going to do, but there are other people who get in the way, who have a different view, who actually may make it better than what we think it is. So we should pay attention to everything everybody's saying. And while you need to be focused on what you're supposed to do, because the venture capital people are looking for that, you always have to have a backup plan, because the chances of success with your original idea are close to zero.
That's
So
interesting.